Oh, I don't fucking think so.
Welcome to Straight Reviews, where there's no bullshit beyond the sign. Now, I had a lot to think about during my little liaison in Maple's holographic wasteland. Good times. And one of the things that struck me was I never really got to see Gotham fully. Now, don't get me wrong, I've watched a few episodes every now and then, and so far I liked it. But I never really gave an in-depth look. So, starting this Remembrance Day, I am going to be giving a critique on this show one episode at a time. Now this is going to be a lot different from my usual reviews, as I won't show stills or clips. However, this is going to be partially scripted, as I often need to keep on topic, so I kept a few notes. But this is basically my honest review of the series as a whole, between my Sirs and ST series and Thought series, should he get impatient and not wait till Halloween.
I heard that.
Let's start with how Gotham came to be. After Smallville's success, DC and various television companies, mostly Warner Brothers, decided to expand on other DC heroes, with Arrow and The Flash being the first two series after. What nobody knew was that Superman was not meant to be the first DC television hero of the 21st century. The creators originally wanted Bruce Wayne to have an origin series first, and the idea eventually led to the making of Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. To add insult to injury, Bruce or Batman was never allowed to be on Smallville despite Batman and Superman's long friendship in the comics. In his place, they used Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow. When the series concluded, there was a Season 11 comic which allowed the Dark Knight to appear alongside Superman, which makes sense seeing as Clark and Bats never really met each other until after they donned their respective costumes. Of course, Batman v Superman coming out, hopefully Warner would do a better job than they did in the 2000s. Anywho, a month ago last year, Fox, whose last encounter with the rights to Batman was the famous Adam West show in the 60s, produced a show in an effort to make a competition between the Arrow and Flash, and them. Needless to say, they're in the second season though, so they must be doing something right. Which is more than I can say for what they did with Marvel, but hey, let's take a look. This is spoiler heavy, so anyone who hasn't seen it, watch it already. The first episode starts, like every Batman medium, behind a dark alley. Unlike most examples where it just focuses on Bruce's side of the story, this one expands by having also Selina Kyle, the future Catwoman, witness the carnage, giving more than one side to the story. Bruce and his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, are being mugged, and the latter have been killed for their troubles. Now, many people complained about how annoying and garbage the screaming was. What the hell's wrong with you? The dude just saw his parents get killed. The last thing he would care about is if his scream was annoying. What's even more surprising is the interpretation of the killing. In the comics, it was just a random mugger who was itchy on the trigger. In the Burton film, they made it so the Joker did it, which I kind of like better, since it gave Batman a personal reason to hate him, other than Jason Todd being killed. Then Nolan made the killer a desperate for dough guy who accidentally did it. All these things have one thing in common. They can be only interpreted one way. Here, on the other hand, it's done in such a way that until it's revealed who did it and why, it'll keep everybody guessing. I would consider it a close second, but that's because, of course, I like the Joker anger better. It seemed to show itself had enough of Bruce screaming, though, since it cuts to the title sequence soon after, and introduces Detective James Gordon and Harvey Bullock. The latter of which I never expected to see a live-action version of. Fuck, where was I? Oh yeah. Much like every other medium, it was Gordon that gave... No, wait, too far ahead. After taking down a deranged addict, Gordon and Harvey were called into the case where Gordon meets Bruce. Much like every other medium, it was Gordon that gave Bruce the comfort he needed that inspired Batman to confide in him years later. Which, in this case, pisses off Bullock because he did not want to look into the case the minute he saw who the victims were. He is also introduced to Alfred, who wishes him luck before they leave. Now, much of the complaints was that while Gotham is centered around finding the Wayne killer, and Bruce and Alfred are main characters, they didn't show up as much in the early episodes. The only way I see it for a TV series like this is you need a focus for each season. 2 if you want to watch two sides of a war. In this case, Gordon and his pursuit of the killer is the main focus for Season 1. And it's no surprise that Bruce isn't ready yet because he just saw them get killed. So it's going to take him a while before he becomes the Dark Knight we know and love. But don't worry, it gets better as it goes along. Harvey and Gordon managed to just start off the case by going after mugger upon mugger before Edward Nygma, one of the medical examiners, tells them that a bullet found in Thomas was too expensive for it to be an ordinary mugging. This prompts Harvey to contact a gangster named Fish Mooney, who is the main antagonist for Season 1. Fish, in this point of the show, works for Carmine Falcone, one of Batman's most prominent enemies in the Gotham mob. Mooney tells him to find Mario Pepper, and we are introduced to Ivy Pepper, who may or may not be the future Poison Ivy. And as a bonus, we are introduced to Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, who works for Fish. So far, the mob, Penguin, Riddler, Catwoman, and Ivy, possibly, are introduced in one episode, and it's no problem. Had it been 2003 to 2005, there would have been complaints up the wazoo, especially from fans of the Spider-Man trilogy, as well as the Batman trilogy before that. I don't consider Batman and Robin to be part of the series as much as they want to try. Alright, fuck. I ran along, I lost my place again. After a struggle, Harvey kills Pepper, which promptly closes the case. Problem solved, right? Wrong. As Penguin tells Major Crimes, led by Renee Montoya, that it was a frame-up, prompting Renee to show up at Gordon's fiancée Barbara Keene's house to tell her the news, which in turn shows they had a loving history together, as well as her contempt for Gordon because of that. Barbara does not believe her, but still asks Gordon just in case, which prompts him to threaten Renee. Did I forget to mention Gordon's a rookie? Don't get me wrong, he was right to do so, but being threatening to someone that thinks you're a crooked cop does not stop them from thinking you're a crooked cop. But nevertheless, he investigates, getting more ire from Ivy and her mother. I say that's odd that a parent and a child would be disgusted at cops killing their abusive spouse and parents, but that shit really happens in real life no matter how odd the circumstances is. Needless to say, Renee was right in a way, and that Mario was framed, but Bullock refuses to open the case. So Gordon goes in it alone facing Fish, taking down a couple of her thugs in the process. However, Fish, much like many Batman villains to come, is the type of leader who likes to get her hands dirty. And she does so by knocking Gordon out with a vase. It was a scene unexpected, even for the main antagonist. When Gordon turns out missing, Bullock goes looking for him. Gordon wakes up to find himself in the slaughterhouse, and Bullock finds him in the nick of time, another staple in the comics. While Mooney watches a stand-up comedian, aka Joker Suspect Number 1, Bullock called Mooney, wondering him that Major Crimes is aware of the frame-up. Mooney, taking the message the wrong way, tries to have them both killed, at the same time talking about her plans to take over Gotham when falling once Falcone dies. She figures that Penguin snitched to the MCU and has him beaten with a chair. Mooney, I gotta say, you got the whole job decision wrong. You should not be a gangster. You should be a heel for WWE. Gordon and Bullock hang around in a reenactment of every 60s Batman cliffhanger while Mooney's thugs are planning on filming their demise. Jesus Christ, I knew criminals were sick in this series, but a snuff film without the Joker involved? That's just cruel. He should at least be the one narrating it. Another group of thugs rush in to save the day while Falcone is taking the lead. Gordon figures out that Falcone in this continuity is a well-intentioned person who wants to control all the crime in Gotham so that there would be at least some kind of order on both sides of the law. But along the way, he also framed Pepper in order to satisfy the city's need for justice temporarily. He's not the first Batman villain to be well-intentioned, but it's rather surprising to see such a thing early in the game, as most of the Batman villains in the comics are often just stock characters, mobsters, serial killers, you name it. People who see things in a one-track mind and nothing else, before the development and all that. But it's not over yet. In a test of loyalty, Bullock has Gordon and Penguin taken to the docks where Bullock intends to have Gordon kill him so the mob would be off their backs. Or if he doesn't, Gordon dies, Barbara dies, and Bullock dies for not convincing him. Penguin, of course, tries to plead for his life, which doesn't seem to be helping his case, and also warning Gordon of an upcoming mob war. Instead, Gordon takes a third option and drops Penguin into the river, making it look like he killed him. The pilot closes with Gordon going to Wayne Manor to tell Bruce the bad news, as well as making Bruce and Alfred his confidants, while he vows to clean up the GCPD. Meanwhile, the Penguin resurfaces on the outskirts of Gotham, killing a fisherman for food while he plots his return. After watching this episode, I would say this series was off to a rough start, and that was the point. While we've heard the story millions of times in various variations for the past 76 years, we are not to expect everything on this show. Think of it as the Columbo of the Batman series. We know how it's going to end, but rather than leave the screen, we are curious to find out how we get to that end. While key characters, especially Batman's future Rose Gallery, are introduced almost all at once, it's done in such a way that's so subtle that had you not had prior knowledge through the other mediums and known their identities before they go by their respective names, you wouldn't have known who any of them are. I hope you enjoyed this, and we got 21 more episodes to go before the season is out, and hell, before I even get to the second season. But until then, as usual, debate, argue, let me know what I missed. Stay tuned for more.